Hey y'all, so Hometown Heroes is opening up in July of this year. And for those of you who are in Palm Beach County, the SHIP program is about to open up tomorrow. With both of these programs, you do have to have your pre-approval before you can get into these programs. So especially with SHIP, you need to have your pre-approval so that you can show that you are approved with a lender already in order to even qualify for the program. So long story short, most of you know I'm with ASC Mortgage. So if you need to get yourself a pre-approval so that you can take advantage of these programs, I'm going to put the link to our mortgage group in the description, so you can go ahead and begin that process. Or of course you can call or DM me to get that started. And it's as simple as having the front and back of your driver's license, 2 months worth of bank statements, and 2 years worth of W-2s. If you are a self-employed, then in lieu of the W-2s, then we would use 2 years of your tax returns. So with those documents, we can go ahead and get you started in the process so you can get your pre-approval. Of course, as the process goes on, that's when you provide additional documentation, information, all of those things. But just to get you your pre-approval so that you can actually use and take advantage of these programs, we can go ahead and get you started with that process. Now, with Hometown Heroes, I do want to elaborate some more. That one, again, is starting in July. And there are some nuances that I want to make sure that you all are aware of when you're considering taking advantage of this program. And with just all of the programs in general, no matter what the program is, make sure you do your research, because a lot of times there are restrictions or requirements that you may not initially be aware of. So you really do need to read the fine print when you're choosing a program, because it can look good for now until you go to refinance or you go to sell, and now you have to pay the money back that you got. So the requirements for each program is different. Their requirements of you may be different. Some programs like SHIP may have you do a credit repair class. With the Hometown Heroes, you are required to do an 8-hour HUD class. So those are things that I want you all to be aware of before you go into these programs, so that way you don't feel blindsided years down the line when you go to do something and now you find that you have some restrictions. And yes, it's your home, but there's some other things that are attached to it that may limit what you're able to do. Or you think that you're about to get a payout of XYZ because you sell your home, and now you realize that you have to pay $25,000 back or whatever have you, just as an example. So make sure you all do your research in regards to each one of the programs. Find out what the requirements are for each one of the programs. But I am going to go over some specific things with Hometown Heroes. I am a Army veteran, and I do work in law enforcement as well. So obviously I care about our military and first responder communities. And these types of programs are really, really helpful because, you know, we normally make a decent salary, but decent and livable are sometimes two different things, especially in today's economy. So anything that we can get to help us towards establishing our future, I want to make sure that you all know about it and you take advantage of it. So I got notes just to make sure I hit the key points that I want to hit. And I'm trying my best not to make this video long because I got to go in here and do something. So with the Hometown Heroes, funding comes directly from the state of Florida. So unlike SHIP, which SHIP is a county program, Hometown Heroes is a state program. So just know the difference between the two. And with that, the state determines your rates and they determine fees. So they may have fees. So for instance, even on the mortgage side, there is a cap on what all they will allow us to do. So and that part, from the perspective of the buyer, I can appreciate that, because it's meant to protect the client. you are locked in as long as your rate is locked in. So I would hate for any of you to think that you're taking advantage of the program, and you do have to be under contract to get locked in. So you cannot drag your feet with either one of these programs. One, because a lot of people are going to be taking advantage. And if you wait and delay, or you procrastinate with starting a process, by the time you get ready to, there may not be any more funds available. I think with the last time Hometown Heroes was offered, within weeks, all of the millions of dollars was gone. So if you are interested in taking advantage of these programs, do it sooner rather than later. Start your process. Contact me so we can get your pre-approval, because you want to go ahead and get your process started as soon as possible to lock in your funds. You are not locked in with Hometown Heroes until you are under contract, which means you have not only gotten your pre-approval, but you have found your forever home, and it is official and written in stone. So let's see what else I have on my notes. The $35,000. Typically with Hometown Heroes, you're going to get about 5% of your purchase price. So that means that 5% of $700,000 is $35,000. So don't apply for these programs and shipped is $100,000. Don't apply for these programs and expect that you're going to get that maximum amount, because they have certain criteria and requirements that determine what it is that you qualify for. And again, Hometown Heroes, you don't know what it is that you're getting until you're under contract. So with that in mind, you have to have reserves available. Because if you go in thinking that you're getting $35,000 from the program and you get 20, that's $15,000 worth of a difference that you are responsible for. So you don't need to go into these programs expecting like, I'm not going to have to pay anything out of pocket. You do need to have some money in the bank. You do need to have some reserves. With Hometown Heroes starting in July, that gives you time, if you know you want to take advantage of the program, to go ahead and hustle to make sure you get some extra coins in the bank, so that when the time comes, if you should have to pull out, a substantial amount of money. And for me, substantial could be $1,000. Substantial could be $5,000, $10,000. Everybody's substantial is different. But if you have to come up with some extra money, you've done your due diligence to make sure that you have some extra money in a bank. And the bank just in general is always going to want to see that you got some of your own money before you just go taking all of ours. So just keep that in mind in general when you are in the home buying process, whether you're using a program or not. Because I know some people, especially veterans, you can buy a home in one of these new builds and get $20,000 in closing costs, and then you use your VA loan and you don't have a down payment, and you could walk away from the closing table without having to put much, if any, money down. But in these cases, make sure that you have some money in your pocket just in case, because you don't want to get all the way to the finish line and you can't cross it because you can't come up with the funds to close. What else? Let's see. I already talked about the 8-hour course that they're going to require. There's a cost. So $100 to $150, and you'll get a certificate. So again, they're requiring this course and you have to pay for it. So that is money that you simply need to know that you need to budget for. So you're not blindsided when you start this process. Your pre-approvals are typically going to be good for 60 to 90 days. So Hometown Heroes, you have a bit of time. You don't want to get it too early because you don't want it to end up expiring on you, and then you have to go through the process all over again. But I would say by June, mid-June, probably at the latest, to go ahead and start your pre-approval process, because that way you can get it going. And it's the car in front of me whose headlights are like right here on my forehead, as y'all can see. So and it is bothering me. I'm not gonna do that though. So 60 to 90 days. So if you're going for Hometown Heroes, June is when you really need to go ahead and make contact and get that process started. So that way, when the program opens, we are ready to, if we haven't already found you a forever home and are ready to go under contract. And so we can go ahead and select that program from day one and get you locked in for your funds. So that is just a tidbit. Again, for the pre-approval process, we would need the front and back of your driver's license, 2 months worth of bank statements, and 2 years worth of your W-2s. If you are self-employed, then we would need 2 years worth of tax returns. And that's just to get the process started so we can get your pre-approval going. I will go in depth in another video in regards to just what the full mortgage process looks like, because I know if you are a first-time home buyer, which this is what these programs are geared towards, you are typically going to be unfamiliar with what the buying process looks like. And I would never want any of my clients, whether I am on the real estate side helping you find a home or on the mortgage side helping you to finance a home, I wouldn't want you to be blindsided with anything regarding the process. So I will be putting out some additional videos that just simply elaborate on what the process looks like, what you can expect, what kind of you need to have in the back of your mind so that you go into these rooms and start these businesses, because that's what it is. This is business, and this is business that matters for your lifetime. So when it comes to building a legacy, I'm gonna need y'all to know all of the ins and outs as much as possible. And as far as I'm concerned, it's my job to make sure that I'm teaching you all that. So if you have any questions or need any additional information, call me. You can DM me. Text me is better because I typically am busy. Your girl stay booked and busy. But by text message, I can go ahead and schedule in for us to have a phone call, a consultation, and then we can go from there with getting some in-depth information. But your pre-approval process, toot sweet. But if you are doing ship, we need to start like today. And Hometown Heroes, let's link up around June so that way we can go ahead and get your pre-approval and we can get you prepared to start that process as soon as the funds become available.